I'm gonna check this out, guys. Season of Discovery has problems, and let's talk about them. Okay.
Discovery so far has been one of the best times I've had in World of Warcraft in a long time.
I agree.
Seeing vanilla content but with some adjustments really has made it into a whole new experience.
It's been real fun.
Be that through the level cap at 25, the new content, or of course the rune system. It for sure has been an overwhelmingly positive season so far, but not without issues. And these aren't just issues that exist because we are level 25 either. In fact, I believe in most cases these will continue to be things that we see reoccur throughout the season. I also think we have giving feedback and players' hopes and wishes to thank for Blizzard really committing to this season in the first place. So
really
why not carry on doing that now? Let's go over the problems Season of Discovery currently has and what can possibly be done about them. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Aeon Classic. As a channel that's focused pretty much entirely around the re-release of an MMO, I can certainly say that having the chance to go back and re-experience games you grew up.
Dude, this game reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys are like me. Okay, I'm actually pausing during a sponsor. Okay, like it is what it is. I used to play a lot of free-to-play MMOs back in the day, and this kind of reminds me of those for some reason. I used to play a game called Perfect World. And it was, the graphic style is so similar.
There's a rare opportunity to have. Releasing earlier this year, Aeon Classic recaptures how this old school MMO started, but with certain quality of life features now, such as faster progression or UI changes. Aeon Classic has 8 classes and an involved combat system in which both skills and crafting mechanics matter, including cooking, tailoring, weaponsmithing, and more. As any MMO should, Aeon Classic features tons of endgame content, such as raids and dungeons, as well as open world and instanced PvP. So whichever style of gameplay you prefer, you should be able to find something here. On top of that, there are constant updates to the world, and even completely new exclusive content that's never been seen before in Aeon, such as new classes, zones, and dungeons. So whether it's to check back on something you used to play, or to try something new, you can download Aeon Classic for free by clicking my link in the description. You can also use my code to get additional gifts in-game, and new players will get a starter package including 7 days of membership and other in-game items.
That's insane.
Many thanks to Aeon Classic for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW. So I want to start on the PvP side of things. It's an area of the game that's designed to cause friction between players, just not in the way that it's happening at the moment. First up, I have to talk about just how the battle for Ashenvale has worked so far this season. It has not been great, and that's if I'm being nice. Blizzard have already said they're planning on making the Stranglethorn Vale PvP experience completely different in Phase 2. And
I do wonder what the hell they're gonna do with STV. Because STV is already like, I mean, it has, you know, a nickname to be a little bit of a war zone. I wonder, like, what are they gonna do? Because I do not think it should be anywhere close to Ashenvale. And Ashenvale, it's not really a PvP event, man. It really ain't. And it's very laggy, and the layers. Ashenvale has had a lot of issues, I think, for sure. Arathi Basin, you think it's gonna be like a capture the base kind of thing? Maybe. I mean, it's hard to say, right?
Taking as many learning points as possible from the battle for Ashenvale, but I still feel as though we're getting an update every single day on how they're fixing it next. First of all, we could just stack raids on the enemy leader and the event ended within the space of 30 seconds. Then the percentage on battle started randomly going down, so you would sit there for 20 minutes waiting for it to start. Then the bosses would bug out and either become untargetable or the game would not register them as having been defeated. This made the...
to be fair to Blizzard though, they released this game with no PTR and no testing. So a lot of these things probably would have been fixed if we had had a PTR for months in advance. But I kind of like that we got this unpolished like version of it. Because in a way, it's kind of fun that it's a little bit like messy and there's like some bugs here. There's like some things that are OP. Some things are a little bit underpowered, but they get buffed and stuff. It's kind of fun. I like it. It's interesting. Oh, did you hear how OP you know, balance druids are with their star surge? Oh my god, hunter pets are so crazy. You know, this and that. It's kind of funny. I really like it actually, and I like it because they are changing stuff fast and they're being very deliberate and very open about what's going on, right? It's a new dynamic. I love it. Yeah, I think so. I really do. I'm pretty sure PTR would have changed nothing. Months of PTR would definitely have fixed a lot of the things, and it would have been a lot more balanced version that we would have gotten, right? It's good because they're fast on the changes. Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Last boss impossible, then the percentage progress of the battle would reset to 0 from about 50-50 because the battle on the bugs layer had finally ended. Oh, and aside from that, there isn't really any PvP in this event either. People just gather up in one big death ball zerg and run from one boss to the next. Is that everything? Did I cover all the bugs so far? I mean, I do appreciate Blizzard trying to fix this up and getting it working, but man, this must be eating into so much of the development time. I wish they could focus on more class balancing and making the best content possible and runes for the next phase, not having to fix an event that might not even be relevant in 2 months, several times per day. The battle for Ashenvale did sound super cool, and maybe it can be redeemed and show what it should have been from the start, but so far it has really not been a high point of the season. And
I'm not personally really angry about the Ashenvale event. I think it is what it is. Like, it's okay. It's nothing super special, but it's an interesting little event. It could definitely be a lot better. I'm more so annoyed that there's a lot of bugs with it, with the, the timer going down, or like, the layering and stuff like that, Wolves are cooler than lightsabers, Orana. What do you mean?
Happened to this event is pretty much because of how predisposed people are to min-maxing and doing whatever yields the best rewards as soon as possible. For the battle for Ashenvale, it's very much a race against the enemy faction. You want to defeat all of the bosses as soon as possible to get the best reputation gains, and then people go on to use those rep gains to buy the Ashenvale mount and tons of really powerful gear. Some people have even carried on doing this to Revered so far. But speaking of PvP and min-maxing,
I don't know what he's gonna get into. I will just say, from a personal standpoint, it feels really shitty going into Warsong Gulch doing 25% less damage over the board, like across the board. They didn't do a blue post about it. They didn't do any announcement about it. But all damage is reduced by 25% over the across the board in Warsong Gulch. It feels kind of shitty, right? Because when I'm outside in the world, I do lava burst or whatever the hell, it does 400 or 500 damage. I go into Warsong and it crits for 300 maybe, right? It feels kind of bad, dude, being so gimped in Warsong. Yeah.
This gets me.
Yeah, pets are not affected by this. Pets still do normal and everything like that, which is why hunters are so good, right? Obviously. We do way too much damage for the HP we have. It just feels kind of shitty. I don't know, feeling really powerful outside the BG, and then you go inside the BG, and then suddenly your class is way worse, right? But I guess it's across the board. It just feels kind of shitty.
On to my next point. Premades in Battlegrounds. I made a video back during Classic going over this exact topic. I thought it was
just make it so if you queue up with a premade, you face other premades, man. It's very simple.
Mistake then. I have not changed my opinion. In short, for Warsong Gulch at the moment, you can queue up as 10 players with full consumes, a stack comp, amazing gear, and be matched against 10 randoms with whatever gear they have, who might not even have a healer between them. Vanilla was made before the time when it was super common to min-max, and it really does show sometimes. I do get the upside of premades though. It's a social game, you're grouping and playing with others, that's fine, and it gets you towards your goal faster. But the overarching problem with it is just fun. If in order for you to have fun, somebody else has to not have fun, you've got a problem on your hands there.
It sucks being queuing up for Warsong Gulch. Maybe you're queuing with yourself or with 2 other friends, and you just get destroyed and camped on the graveyard by a premade. It's just not fun, man. It sucks, dude.
And being matched as randoms into premades, it's just game over when the gates open. It's not fun at all. You get rolled in the first fight in mid, and then you get graveyard camped until they decide to camp 3 times. So
look, all these guys are literally running away from the spirit healer just to avoid getting rest so the game can end faster. It's so sad.
Why not join or make your own premade? That is the obvious answer. And premade versus premade is actually fun. Well, time is usually the answer. Right now, we have a really casual, friendly version of World of Warcraft with a level cap of 25. You'll have people who could never make the grind to 60 seeing the end game content now because things have been slowed down so much. And
premades aren't about PvP, it's about the PvP rewards. I'm starting to think that people actually just don't like PvP. They just want the rewards. That's just really what it is. So whenever it's very common for premades to pop stomp, absolutely destroy the non-premades. Then when they face a premade, one of the premades just gives up because it's faster honor just to destroy pucks. It kind of sucks a little bit, right? You know, but having a Premade versus Premade is actually really fun.
If you want any semi-decent PvP, you need to assemble a group. Just is not realistic in my opinion. In fact, as we go on, I bet you'll be seeing more and more complaints over the state of Premade versus Pug. Also worth a mention that ranking has changed how it works too. The whole concept of needing to grind so high you could fix your own honor cap, bracket breaking, bracket stacking, that's all gone. In short, there is a max number of honor you can gain per week that will advance your rank, and you can only go up a certain number of ranks per week too. It's not like you can go from 6 to 14 or something. They explained all of this in a blue post here.
I kind of like the changes to the ranking system, honestly. As a person that's done rank 14 grind with the old system, I kind of like it, dude. I think it's a good system they implemented. It's still kind of grindy. You still have to put in a lot of work, but it's not as punishing. Only people that like Premades are flavor of the month rollers? Nah, I wouldn't say that. I definitely think there's something fun about Premades. It's not something that I would do like all day, every day, but once in a while, like having a 10 versus 10 Premade, you know, back and forth, like try to get to the flag and defend your flag carrier, it can be kind of fun. But yeah.
Unfortunately, I am lacking in a degree in mathematics, so as usual, the vanilla ranking system is completely mystifying. I did find an add-on, however, called Ranker, which pretty clearly displays where you are at, as well as what you need to grind to hit the next rank. It also has a what if mode, so you can look at your future grinds too. So, to be honest, I just use the add-on instead of trying to get your head around how the maths actually works.
Yeah, this add-on is best. Just get Ranker. It's super easy to use as well. What's up, Jerry? What's up, Sleeman?
Oh, also, you can't drop ranks through decay anymore. But, reminder, the rank cap is 3 at the moment, and we already have complaints of Premade versus Pug, when you can get to rank 3 in 2 weeks with not a very large amount of effort. So this will become more noticeable as the season progresses, the level cap goes up, you can gain more ranks, and people need to grind more for those ranks. So, what should change? Well, the obvious answer is splitting the queue into Premade versus Premade and Solo versus Solo. Now, honestly, I'm not sure if I like this. You see, most Premades are not in it for the PvP. If Blizzard removed the cape reward from rank 3, the number of Premades you would run into would halve overnight, if not more.
People would just stop doing it, I think. I think if they would put like a limit to like, okay, you could queue up to 4 people together, then people would do like 4-man Premades and get like the best people they possibly can and try to like pop stomp that way, right? Like, but that's just how players work. Like they will try to do the easiest way possible and the fastest way possible to acquire the goal, right? Because a lot of the times with MMOs, it's not really about the grind. It's about the it's about, you know, getting to the goalpost as fast as possible. People are grinding for Exalted, not the cloak. I think people are grinding for both. I think it's just like a showcase that people are getting it for gear, Crankle. It's not necessarily for the cloak only.
Than that, I believe the majority of Premades are goal-oriented players looking to hit their objective as soon as possible, in which case Premading gets you the most honor, so it's the best way. But that's coming at the expense of other players' experience within Battlegrounds. In other words, Premade versus Premade is only for people who actually enjoy PvP, believe it or not. And I think if this existed, it would only pop at peak times. The rest of the time, it would be kinda dead. And even then, what does Premade versus Premade imply?
Look at it, I'm sorry. I can't help myself, dude. You can just see all the corpses on the ground. There's a flare on the spawn, and they're camping the graveyard. Oh my god.
If I queue as 3 players and I get matched with another Premade of 2 and then 5 versus a 10 stack, the 3 Premades that might make up my group are more organized than your usual Pug, sure, but it's unlikely we are as organized as the 10 players together. I think the way to do it, if they were to truly change anything, would be to limit how many players can Premade into a battleground. You'd probably also have to put in a randomized delay for the queue to pop, and to prefer matchmaking groups from different realms too.
That's a really good way of doing it as well. Just be like, okay, you can queue up to 4 or 5 people together, or however many, right? What's up, Don Toby?
There are still some creative ways to Premade across different groups, which used to exist in Classic. And if you still do want your 10 versus 10, war games exist, right? I seem to remember them putting them in the game at some point. I'm not sure.
I do believe war games are in the game, yeah. I do recall at some point, yeah, Victor, that there was a cap to the people you could queue with, the amount of people. What's up, Adrian? But I don't really, maybe that's like the Mandela effect. I'm not sure, man. What's up, Steven?
or if they're actually in vanilla.
I don't know.
Maybe that's an option. So what would be the downsides to splitting it in a way where you can only queue as a certain number of people? Well, you could get somebody who might as well be a bot on your team, or an actual bot for that matter. In which case, I have to say, welcome to random matchmaking for online games. First time. Also, it would drastically increase the time you need to rank, and it would be far less efficient than being able to fully pre-made. I know, having to actually play the game for your new purple items, what a horrible thought. It's not as though you can decay ranks anymore though, you just need to play more in the week when you decide to push. But those are my thoughts on pre-made versus solo queue. We'll see if anything changes. Next up, I have casters and rune scaling. So I touched on this in a recent video, and there were some huge buffs that went out to the likes of Shadow Priest and Boom.
Wait! Is Melee Hunter top 4? That is so funny. DPS Rogue, Marksman, DPS Hunter, Melee Hunter. Kinda okay.
As well, but after having monitored Warcraft logs for data changes, it's pretty much confirmed what I thought. If you are a caster, and you can't do the majority of your healing or damage through runes, you're just going to underperform in raids for the whole season. Things may get better after 60, but let me explain what's up here. So in vanilla, we have spell ranks. At certain levels, you go back to your trainer and buy them. For physical damage dealing classes, the increase in power on spell ranks is pretty minor. Your heroic strike or sinister strike may gain a few extra points of damage. This is because the majority of your ability scaling, in many cases, is tied to your weapons damage or your attack power. Now, physical...
Listen, dude, get good casters. It is what it is, okay? This is a goddamn melee DPS world.
Classes can already access weapons which are far and away beyond the power curve for us being level 25. Notable examples are Berrigan's Fist for Paladins from that class quest, Fathom Blade, and of course the new Epic Sword. And many physical...
Okay, I will just say though, kind of bullshit that there is no one-handed epic weapon. There's a caster weapon, there's a hunter weapon, like a ranged, and there's a two-handed sword. There's no epic melee with like one-handers. Kind of weird. I actually think that's kind of weird. I just wanted to get that out there. Yeah, I guess there's two hunter weapons now that you think about it, right? Next phase, there has to be a one-handed melee epic for sure. What about dagger? No, there's no epic daggers. No daggers, no swords, no axes, no maces, nothing. It's kind of sad. It is a little bit sad, actually.
Damage dealing runes are again centered around weapon damage or attack power, so this is why physical classes are looking pretty good at the moment. But casters, however, going from one spell rank to the next can increase an ability's damage by upwards of 50% in some cases, and these level caps can put us in very awkward positions. For example, I believe all of Frostbolt, Lightning Bolt, and Shadow Bolt are ranks learned at level 20 at the moment, which is making specs that use those abilities very weak when compared to others. But wait, if we go to Warcraft logs, Warlock is the top performing caster. How can that be if Shadow Bolt is garbage at level 25? Well, the simple answer is nobody's using Shadow Bolt. All the locks in Raid are playing Destruction, using Incinerate and Chaos Bolt for their damage. Pretty much. And the real key to their damage is that they're able to use these two runes almost.
What do you mean, my bro? Warrior outside of Raid is absolutely bad, if not wheelchaired and supported. Welcome to playing a warrior. That has been the reality for Warrior for the past 20 years. You are an absolute god in PvE, but in PvP, you need a healer to help you. But if you have that healer to help you, you can destroy people. And it's really fun. That's Warrior. That's this Warrior, man. For Warrior to be like competitive in PvP, you need to either use like free action potions and engineering, or you need to have like a pocket healer. That's this Warrior life. It is what it is. They are. I think Warriors do have a chance to getting a lot more stronger because of talent like runes like Warbringer, and mayhaps in the future there's gonna be some more stuff as well, right? So it isn't kind of fair. No, that's vanilla. Vanilla isn't fair. It's really not. But that's how it goes. Do you think it should stay the same as SOD? The only chance they had to redesign how Warrior work and dumb Rage Bar in general, where you do more damage, you take more damage, also equals you need heals all the time. I kind of like the way Warrior works. I don't really think Warrior's in a bad spot in any way, shape, or form. I mean, Warrior, when they have really good gear, they can do insane amount of damage. And it feels really satisfying when you finally get good gear on a Warrior to really pop off. I would say so.
entirely for their throughput. Runes are far better than any of your class abilities for 2 reasons. One is they cost a base mana, not a flat amount. Incinerate costs about half what Shadow Bolt does, and it does more damage. The second reason is runes are scaled to your level. You'll notice when you get a rune, you don't have to go and learn ranks. It just gets more powerful as you level up. So Warlocks are able to use 2 abilities with a reasonable mana cost, which are scaled to deal damage as if they were level 25. And this idea of how dependent casters are on spell ranks is very consistent. Fire mages get rank 5 of Fireball at level 24. That's nearly as good as that ability can be. As a result, they're doing pretty well. For Arcane, Arcane Blast, that's a rune, so it's scaled to 25. And even if we go and look at healers for both Resto Druid and Priest, they are both doing amazingly.
Wait, healers are actually kind of... all healers are actually doing quite good. Even healing mages, I mean, they're obviously doing worse than the Priest and Druids, but it's actually pretty well-rounded for healers.
Both Resto Druid and Priest, they are both doing amazingly. Why? Resto Druid's vast majority of healing is done through Wild Growth, and Priests have Prayer of Mending, Penance, and Circle of Healing, whereas Shaman and Paladin are stuck casting vanilla spells for the most part, and those spells are just weaker. And even
actually good point, guys, you guys are making. The mages are actually also doing damage, because they are kind of healing with their damage, right? They put like mass regen in everybody, and then they like Arcane Blast and whatever they do. That's a good point, actually.
And we're 16, we have all our spell ranks. Runes are still just going to be better because of their mana cost. And if we go back to looking at the recently buffed Moonkin or Shadow Priest, they're still low down on damage, because even though their runes got a buff, triple damage in some cases, by the way, they still have to rely on casting vanilla spells. So what is the fix to this then? Well, we could delete spell ranks and make every single spell based off of your level instead.
I think we do not need to overcomplicate this though. Because like, the meta is not for level, this is like a level 25. The real meta, the real end game is 60, right? And a lot of these things are gonna get fixed even at level 40, I think, when you get full talents.
That's what they did in Cataclysm, by the way,
honestly.
And I know that ain't about to happen. More realistic is make future runes, or existing ones, alter vanilla spells to bring them up a little notch in some way. Here's a few modifications I can think of that could be used to improve a whole variety of vanilla spells. Allowing damage over time effects to crit, making abilities deal more damage based off an enemy's...
Dude. Listen, man, if Warlock dots could crit, it's over for everybody. Okay, like, we're all dead. Alright, listen, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here, Willie. All right, let's not make dots crit. All right, bro. That's no. We need to calm down. Listen, we're level 25. Let's just wait for level 40, 50, and 60. Okay. That is the most Warlock take I have ever heard.
Health, direct damage spells are leaving a dot behind, straight up reducing mana costs, maybe even cast times in certain cases. And
hey, we're level 25. Listen, no. Let's wait a little bit here.
Using existing runes to buff certain desired class identities. A great example that's already been done in the game was the changes to Deadly Brew for Rogues.
Cool, yeah.
This fixed issues around poisons having charges, as well as sharing certain buff slots. Now you just put this rune on and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about poisons anymore for damage. Another example, which isn't in the game.
He's talking about later phases, though. Yeah, but I believe a lot of these things and a lot of these issues that are being proposed here in terms of classes is gonna be automatically fixed by the level scaling and like the abilities and talents that you get. So it's gonna be a non-issue when we get deeper in. I do agree with the Warzone Gold take that he's making, and also the Ashenvale as well, right? Those things are definitely some issues that could get addressed in some way, but I think this is gonna fix itself eventually.
I thought up. Imagine if for Shadow Bolt Volley, it also made Shadow Bolt restore some of its mana cost when it crit. Either way, I think there's room for improvements on casters as a whole, because I'm just saying if warriors are doing this well at 25 already, oh boy, it's going to be vanilla all over again by the time we're 60. Next is something you've probably seen start to take off on your server, and with such a low level cap, they're even more visible than normal. Bots. It's an unfortunate thing that happens to each and every MMO, that we have to deal with bots and their side effects. On Wild Growth EU, I've seen a number of bots set up, either farming low-level murlocs for pearls in the wetlands, or especially in Duskwood, just doing skinning. And if you were to do a /who on your server for the stockades, you may just see a whole bunch of level 16 rogues. That's the level that they get pickpocketed, by the way, no coincidence. And you're not going to be able to pickpocket usually because mobs in there start around level 25, so whatever they're doing is combined with some kind of abuse. Equally, the Scarlet Monastery dungeons are open, and I've found that there's often a bunch of hunters in—
Not anymore, right? I think they closed those, so you can only do Graveyard, I believe. To my knowledge, at least, right? I saw a bot in a guild, whispered them from guild, got told off. Library is open? Okay, so library is open. Alright, alright.
There too, farming something or other, probably abusing some pathing bug. There isn't too much as a player base we can do about the bots inside dungeons, as whilst there is a report feature, you can only report their name, not for botting. But in the open world, bots are really not too difficult to spot. Whether they have a nonsensical name, full BOE gear, or they're just making strange movements, you should be able to see them. And do make sure you report them, that's the biggest thing we can do. And it does work. I've already had some of those mails coming through saying that a bot has been banned because of your report. Finally, I've got 1 or 2 quality of life things which I wouldn't be opposed to. It's not 2019 vanilla anymore. The literal purpose of this season is to change stuff and see what's well received and what isn't. And you can put some stuff into the game without making it into retail. And you know, I wish people would stop saying adding certain things into the game makes it into retail, because it really doesn't. These two games are so different in almost every way possible. If instead people said it makes it too different from vanilla, yeah, okay, I can get behind that, that's fair enough. Anyways, 3 main things for me. I don't know how possible these are, but I figured I'd just throw them out there in the video. Number 1 is instant mail, at least between characters on the same account.
That one I can kind of agree with. It's kind of annoying having some stuff on one character and not being able to send it instantly to another. You have to wait an hour, right? Between account, I agree. On your own account, I do agree.
Biggest benefit you'll get out of this by far will be when you get one of those supply crates, you can hop over to your bank.
Why? Because it's kind of annoying having a character that you want to bring something from that character to another character, but you know, it's not like a super huge problem, but it would just be kind of nice, you know, it is what it is.
Buy whatever you need, send it to your main, get your main to a mailbox, fill the supply box, and then carry on with your day. And it's a whole lot easier to get to a mailbox than all the way back to an auction house. And they did make the filled supply boxes non-unique too, in case you didn't know, so this seems like a bit of a no-brainer. Other big benefits include being able to send items for professions to your main for leveling, consumes for PvPing or raiding if you're in a pinch for time, and so on. The downside is, it wasn't like that in vanilla, I suppose. That's pretty much it. The next one is 41-yard nameplates. Look, I don't know if I've missed an interview or something, but if it's not possible, can we just say it's not possible so we know? But at the moment, when you see a mob's nameplate, you're also in their aggro radius. On top of that, trying to multi-dot stuff from distance, a living bomb, anything like that, it's just kind of hard to see what's going on over there because the bars are not visible. Are there downsides? Yes, die-hard PvPers will tell you there are downsides, such as being able to see nameplates through solid walls from far away. That's kind of it though, I think. The final one—
Couldn't you just make it so it's like only like non-players though? Maybe that would be too big of a hassle to do, but you could just make it so it's like only for mobs, not players. So like nameplates for players are like short, but like mobs are like longer. I mean, that's a pretty simple fix, no? Because then the PvP would still be the same.
Far away. That's kind of it though, I think. The final one, which I can kind of do without for phase 1, but I think it will become noticeably better in phase 2, is Dual Spec. It's Season of Discovery. Your talents make up for a big chunk of your power. Mixing and matching stuff is a lot of fun, and I think it should be encouraged. Now, at the moment, we are level 25, and we really can't get that far into our talent trees. For a bunch of classes, you could pretty much randomly assign your talents, put your runes on for the spec you're playing, and you're probably about at 70 to 80% of your normal power that you would have been with proper talents, because runes are OP. But
respec is so cheap, I don't really mind it. Yeah, I mean, I think dual spec would be nice, but yeah, they actually did lower the respec a lot. Respec is very cheap now compared to what it is. I don't really have a super big problem with it as long as the respec is not 50 gold, right? You know, I did do an interview, I think I remember back before SOD came out, and they did say that they want to keep the respec cost really, really low, so you can like you can respec back and forth as much as you want, kinda, right?
By level 40, we can go all the way down our talent tree and grab that last talent. This will make talents way more impactful than they are at the moment, and I think having 2 talent trees to play around with is better than 1.
That's
and
fair.
I know they reduced the gold cost for respec.
I wouldn't have an issue with it.
If you didn't know about this, it's 10 silver per respec, capped at 1 gold, and I can get over 1 gold from doing a single quest at 25. The issue really isn't with the cost of it. It's just having to make your way all the way back to the class trainer each
Not as far as you think, Indomitable. People want it to be further, basically.
Time you want to change things out.
It's not really
and yes,
far.
I agree, it's vanilla, travel is a big part of that and everything, but I want to try the new rune and talent combos out on the seasonal server, so yeah, can we change it? I mean, if you want to put a flat gold cost on unlocking jewel spec, maybe even a quest, that's all good too. There are other ways to do this too, maybe even more thematic ways. You could put a respec consumable profession item in the game, a potion of forgetfulness from alchemy, a prototype mind alteration device from engineering that's a helmet with a cooldown on. And I think if you're worried about class spec and identity, the runes are kind of already pushing people into one playstyle. With the ability to respec, the most common uses I think will be a healer to swap to DPS for a certain raid boss, or vice versa, or just people wanting to PvP putting on a proper spec. But
it would be
that
nice.
is all I have at the moment. Feedback and just asking for stuff got us to where we are at the moment. So I thought I'd just throw in a few thoughts here today. Let me know.
I think it's really nice having these discussions and like videos and streams and like just talking about what people want, right? Because at the end of the day, the SOD is a game for us, right? So having discussions and everything like that about is healthy, I think. And I don't agree with everything that Willie is saying, but I do think he's making some really good cases for some of the things that he does want in the game, right?
Your thoughts on the video, on the issues I've gone over here. Do you agree with them? Do you think we should hold tight a bit and see how things are at level 40? Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, I think we should hold a little bit.
And as always,
don't go too crazy with
thank you all so much for watching and listening in. And I'll see you on the next one very soon.
Dual spec would not turn into retail. It would allow way more diversity in builds between PvP and PvE without spending 25 minutes running to someone to respec. Yeah, as I said, I really don't have an issue if they would add respec. I know some people are like, oh, only like it's vanilla and it's this is not retail, right? But dude, it's Season of Discovery. We're literally already like so far from like no changes vanilla as you can pretty much get, right? So I agree with that take for sure. I think that he really makes some good points though, and it's really cool and fun having these discussions about this whole thing. So very, very good video from Willie there. I'll link it here always.